You're about to learn how to repair Kemlite's translucent fiberglass roof. Now, we have worked closely with trailer manufacturers and repair facilities to develop the easiest and most effective methods. Although there may be other methods, the techniques we demonstrate here have proven to be reliable. Now, this strange-looking apparatus behind me is a mock-up of a trailer roof. It was decided to stage our repair demonstration with this mock-up rather than to bring in the real thing for a couple of reasons. Now, first, having no sidewalls allows us more flexibility to position the camera and the lighting for sharper detail. And second, we can create the damage that will best show each of the repair techniques. Now, the techniques might seem complicated at first, but once you've worked with the materials a few times and had some hands-on experience, you'll find it's quite easy. Now, damage appears in different forms in all sizes, from a very small puncture to a long tear or gouge that could include several roof bows. Now, there are 4 major repair techniques. Small punctures and holes are repaired simply with quick-set epoxy and silicone sealant. Small gouges and tears are fixed by the wet layup method using fiberglass mat and polyester resin. Long tears or gouges where the roof material has been torn completely away may require a rigid fiberglass patch. Extensive damage calls for replacing part of the roof with a new panel, the full width of the trailer, very similar to sectioning an aluminum roof. Each of these techniques will be demonstrated. When doing your repairs, there are certain safety procedures you should follow. Since you will be sanding fiberglass and creating dust, wear eye protection and guard against inhaling the dust by wearing OSHA-approved respirator masks. Also, fiberglass dust can be irritating to sensitive skin, so you may want to wear clothing that covers you completely. While working with polyester resins, protect your hands with gloves or a protective cream made for that purpose. When working with resin and solvents inside the trailer, make sure it's adequately ventilated to prevent the buildup of fumes. Always read the caution labels on all solvent containers and take the necessary precautions. The resin and solvents you'll be using are highly flammable, so don't smoke or use electrically operated tools that may cause sparks. Now, let's review the materials and equipment you need. For infrequent or small damage repairing, you'll find the Kemlite Roof Panel Repair Kit ideal because it contains everything you'll need to do several minor repairs. Now, if you're making large or frequent repairs, you'll want these items in larger quantities. For your convenience, the basic materials, resin, fiberglass, and film, are available from Kemlite. For mixing resin, 2 stirring sticks are in the kit. Also, 2 plastic spreaders come in the kit. One for spreading T-mix resin on the fiberglass and one for smoothing out the film. If you intend to do FRP repairs frequently, you might want to have several size containers on hand, from a 6-ounce to a 32-ounce. 2 16-ounce plastic beakers come with the kit. The other items are easy to find locally. For repairing small holes and sealing around the edges of larger ones, you'll want a high-grade clear silicone sealant and a 2-part quick-setting clear epoxy like DevCon. Kemlite's translucent polyester resin T-mix is especially formulated to match the Kemlite roof material. 2 1-quart containers come with the kit. Both quarts and gallons are available separately. Fiberglass chop strand mat used in the wet repair gives the resin its strength. The kit contains 18 square feet of fiberglass mat, which is enough to repair 6 square feet 3-ply. For larger quantities of mat, call Kemlite. 2 types of film are required for the wet repair: embossed film for the top side and smooth film for underneath on the inside. A 3-foot by 5-foot sheet of each kind is included in the kit. Extra film is also available separately. For cleaning, degreasing, and tool cleanup after fiberglass, acetone works nicely. But remember, it's highly flammable, so use caution. The tools and equipment you need are quite common. You probably already have them in your shop. You'll want to have 80 grit carbide sandpaper on hand and a sanding block. If your repair is fairly large, a power disc sander will speed up the operation. Because of the danger of electrical sparks, it's best to use pneumatic power tools. You'll also need an ample supply of clean rags for wiping off sanding dust, cleaning the repair area, and of course tool cleanup. 2-inch masking tape for holding down the film, a utility knife for cutting film and fiberglass mat to size. When mixing resin and catalyst, use a clean metal or polyethylene container. The size will depend on the amount you have to mix. For extensive repairs, you'll need a drill, a pull rivet gun, and vice grip clamps, as well as other tools and equipment that you'd normally use for installing aluminum roof panels. With materials, tools, and safety equipment ready, let's get started. Holes 1/4 inch or less in diameter can be repaired in 15 to 20 minutes, and the trailer is back in service immediately. Now, this repair can be made solely from the inside, but to be sure of a long-lasting, trouble-free repair, you should seal in the area on the top also. First, be sure the roof is completely dry around the damage. Then clean the hole and an area 4 to 5 inches around it thoroughly with acetone. Mix a small dab of 5-minute epoxy and press it into the hole from the underside. It will cure in a few minutes. Then cover the hole with a small amount of silicone and feather out to make a neat job. On the top side, dab a small amount of silicone on the repair and feather out. The job is done. The trailer can go back into service. The wet layup repair using Kemlite's polyester T-mix has proven to be the best universal method for repairing rips, tears, and gouges that have broken through the surface of the fiberglass roof panels. This repair is done in 3 phases. 1. Prepare the surface. 2. Fiberglass the underside. And 3. Fiberglass the top side. With tools and materials at hand, most layup repairs can be done in less than 2 hours. Use this method to repair all sizes of damage where the roof material is intact and not missing. Now, if the material is missing, you'll want to consider the rigid overlay repair, which we'll go into later. The success of a wet layup repair depends on proper preparation of the fiberglass surface. The surface must be abraded to give it a tooth for good adhesion between the resin and the roof panel. And it must be dry and totally free of grease, road grime, exhaust residue, dust, and dirt. The damage may leave a flap of roof material. Leave it. Don't cut it off. With 80 grit silicone carbide paper on your power sander, sand the damage area just deep enough to remove the embossment. You don't want to weaken the panel by sanding too deep. Extend the sanded area 6 inches or so all around beyond the damage. Remove all the dust and wipe the area with acetone. Now, we'll leave the top side to go inside to abrade the same area underneath. Now, like you did before, remove all the dust and wipe the area with acetone. We are now ready to do the first fiberglass resin layup on the other side of the roof. Before you cut any fiberglass or mix any resin, you'll need to prepare a flat work surface. A sheet of plywood works well. And so you won't have to work off the floor, you may want to set it on a couple of sawhorses. You'll need enough space for mixing, cutting the fiberglass mat shape, and wetting out the fiberglass with resin. On one end of your work surface, spread a sheet of smooth polyester film at least 8 inches larger all around than the sanded area. Now, cut a piece of fiberglass mat 1 inch smaller all around than the sanded area. Place it in the center of the film. Catalyze a quantity of Kemlite T-mix resin, carefully following the mixing instructions that come with the kit. Mix enough to cover the surface of the fiberglass mat to a depth of 1/8 of an inch. Again, be sure to mix enough. Having too much is better than running out. Now, your working time with the catalyzed resin will be 20 to 30 minutes. Spread a heavy layer of mix over the entire area of the fiberglass mat on your work surface. Build up the resin to at least 1/8 of an inch. Raise this mat and film sandwich up to the abraded area and press it in place. Using your plastic spreader as a squeegee, stroke outward from the center to the edges with slight pressure to work the resin through the mat until it's completely saturated. If there are areas not saturated with resin, try to work more resin into that area using the squeegee. If it's still not enough, pull back the film and add more catalyzed T-mix. Squeegee again. Now, continue lightly feathering resin out to the edge of the abraded area. Pick up any excess and feather again. Let it cure. You are now ready to go back on top. Cut 2 pieces of mat. The first should be about 1 inch smaller all around than the sanded area, and the second approximately 2 inches smaller than the first. Catalyze more T-mix resin. If you mix the correct amount underneath, you'll now need that much, plus about 2/3 more. Spread the catalyzed T-mix on the abraded area about 1/8 inch deep. Lay the first larger piece of mat in position and press it into the resin. Be careful not to disturb the underside repair. Tap the mat lightly and repeatedly with the spatula to bring the resin up into it. When this layer is saturated, spread resin on the second piece of mat about 1/8 inch thick. Place it down on top of the first piece, resin side down. Again, tap the mat lightly and repeatedly with the spatula. Spread a sheet of embossed polyester film over the area. Using the spreader, stroke from center outward to work resin through the mat to the undersurface of the film. Continue with the squeegee a little more firmly to work out excess resin. Feather it to the edge of the abraded area, picking up any excess, and continue feathering. Now, let it cure. You can test for cure without disturbing your repair by setting aside your leftover mix and checking it occasionally. When the resin is cured, remove the film from both sides. The trailer can go back into service. In large damaged areas where the roof material is broken away or missing, use an overlay of Kemlite 075 translucent roof material. An appropriate sized patch is adhered to the top of the surface with highly flexible silicone adhesive. It's mechanically fastened at the corners and every 6 inches around the perimeter. First, prepare the area by sanding away all loose material and abrade the surface 6 inches all around the broken area to assure a good bond. Remove all the dust and wipe the area with acetone to be sure it's free of grease, grime, exhaust residue, and moisture. Cut a square patch of Kemlite roof material. Plan to position the patch so its corner-to-corner axis is parallel with the length of the roof. Round the corners slightly to help it lie flat. The underside of the patch should also be abraded. Apply silicone in 1/4 inch diameter beads about 1 inch apart over the prepared area. Set the patch in position, press down firmly, and shift back and forth slightly to completely embed the patch in silicone and eliminate all air pockets. In addition to the silicone, some mechanical fasteners should be used. Pull rivets are easiest to use. Drill the appropriate sized hole and install the first rivet. Drill another hole in the opposite corner and install the second rivet. That will secure the patch so the remaining holes can be drilled and riveted. Cover the edges of the patch and the fastener heads with silicone and feather out to make a neat job. When damage is severe and roof bows are buckled out of shape, it's best to install a new section of roof panel to replace the bad. This is accomplished by first cutting and removing the damaged portion just ahead of a roof bow. Then installing a new section that overlaps the good roof 12 inches. And third, securing the seam with mechanical fasteners and an aluminum cap strip, top and bottom, to maintain the shear strength. Severe damage is reported most often in the forward sections. So, for this demonstration, we'll show that section's replacement in detail. Drill out rivets and remove cap strip around area. Cut off the damaged portion of the roof 6 inches in front of the first roof bow in the good section. The new panel sections will overlap 12 inches, 6 inches in front of the roof bow and 6 inches in the back of the roof bow. Cut a replacement panel of Kemlite translucent 075 thick material. Add 12 inches to the length of the overlap, plus an additional amount for tensioning. Sand and clean the mating overlay surfaces thoroughly with acetone, so they're free from grease and road grime, exhaust residue, dust, dirt, and moisture. Cut 4 cap strips from standard 04 or 05 aluminum, 2 inches wide by full width of trailer roof. Lay down beads of silicone 1/4 inch in diameter, about 1 inch apart, the length and width of the overlap. Set the new panel in position carefully, trying not to disturb the sealant. When the panel is properly positioned, press down firmly at the overlap to seat the panel in silicone. Clamp it at the rail to hold it in position. Set the previously prepared aluminum cap strip in position at the rear edge of the overlap and clamp. Fastening will begin in the center of the rear overlap. Have a helper hold the inside cap strip in position while the first fastener hole is drilled and riveted. Continue fastening every 2 to 4 inches, working from the center toward the rail. Repeat the same procedure at the front overlap. When riveting the overlap is complete, tension the panel and seal and fasten the perimeter at the top rail as usual. To complete the job, seal the overlap edges and rivet heads with silicone. There you have it. 4 basic repair techniques. A quick repair of small punctures using epoxy and silicone. The wet layup, which will probably serve a majority of the situations. The patch, to be used when a portion of the roof material is missing. Replacing a section of roof, sometimes required when the damage is severe. Now, once you've made several repairs, you'll undoubtedly come up with your own techniques. Now, the most important thing to remember is the repair must be abraded by sanding and be free from grease, dust, dirt, and moisture. Now, you can order repair kits or bulk quantities of film, resin, and fiberglass mats directly from Kemlite. Call 800-435-0080 or write to Kemlite Company, P.O. Box 2429, Joliet, Illinois, 60434.